Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has hidden unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure, or admire an old one. What will we find today? Let's dig in. Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
2 Chronicles 7:14 says, "If my people, who are called by my name, will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and forgive their sin and heal their land." At the dedication of the temple, King Solomon prayed a beautiful prayer, dedicating not only the temple but his reign as king and the people. You can read it in 2 Chronicles chapter 6. One night soon afterward, the Lord appeared to him and assured him that he had heard his prayer. The Lord gave this verse, 2 Chronicles 7:14, as a go-to when they had trouble. When the people had drought or locusts that ate their crops, or some sort of pestilence came among them, this was what they were immediately supposed to do. God spelled out the results of not doing this in verses 19 through 22. It says, "But if you turn aside and forsake my statutes and my commandments that I have set before you, and go and serve other gods and worship them, then I will pluck you up from the land that I have given you, and this house that I have consecrated for my name, and I will cast out of my sight, and I will make it a proverb and a byword among all peoples. And at this house, which was exalted, everyone passing by will be astonished and say, 'Why has the Lord done this to the land and to his house?' Then they will say, 'Because they abandoned the Lord, the God of their fathers, who had brought them out of the land of Egypt, and laid hold of other gods, and worshipped them and served them. Therefore he has brought all this disaster upon them.'" Those are pretty bad consequences that we don't want to happen. 2 Chronicles 7:14 was given to the people of Israel, but it can also be used for God's people anywhere. Just imagine if every Christian in your country, whether in the U.S. or around the world, would do what this verse says. Do you think God would respond with forgiveness and healing? What I'd like to do in this podcast and the next is to walk through this verse and spend some time discussing how it can apply to us. Just as prayer was supposed to be a go-to for the people of Israel, it should be for us today. We may not have drought or locusts, but we have many other problems. A sickness that's killing people all over the world, division and hatred, whether between races or political parties, and not to mention morality going downhill fast. People are afraid, lonely, hopeless. We need healing in so many areas that it's obvious only God can bring about that healing. So the first word in the verse is if. This healing God promises is conditional. It depends on us. No prayer, no healing. If we want to change, if we want healing, if we want to see God working in, around, and through us, it will do no good just to sit around and talk about how bad society is, to gripe about the cultural mess we've gotten ourselves into, or even complain about our government. Organizing marches and protests won't change things. Staying home, wearing a mask, and ignoring all the problems won't help either. But we are not helpless. We are not defenseless. If we believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, who has authority and control over all things, we can do something. We can pray. The question is, will we? The verse says, "If my people." As Christians, we are his people. We are God's sons and daughters. We have a hope and a future that no one and nothing can take away, no matter how bad things get. Those who are not his people have no hope, no matter how good things get. They're living only for the now, and sometimes the now can be pretty scary. As God's people, we should have a burden for those in our country and around the world who are not his people. We should be reaching out to those around us, giving them God's words and actions, showing his love and care so they will want to become his people too. We need to be praying specifically for those we know who need the Lord. And as his people, praying for our country is our responsibility. The verse says, if my people who are called by my name. We are called by his name, not only by the use of the word Christians, which means little Christs, but we are to reflect his character. His name is all of his attributes combined: holy, gracious, just, defender, life, deliverer, rock, salvation, strength, majesty, shepherd, oh, so much more. Since we are called by his name, we are Jesus to the world. In representing him to our world, did they see us as hypocrites who worry and complain because we don't trust our God and don't believe he's powerful enough to do anything, or people who compromise their values and back down quickly when they feel threatened? Or do they see us standing up for right, boldly standing against sin, and reflecting God's qualities consistently in our everyday lives? If we really are his people, and if we really represent his name to the world, our prayers will make a difference. We'll talk tomorrow about other qualifications in this verse for God to heal our land.
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. Also, if you'd like to share a treasure God has given you by doing an episode, please contact us. You can listen to other episodes on our website, which you'll find in the description below. Thanks for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.